Welcome to the Pair of Dinks. I'm Chantel.
And I'm Jake.
And we're live at Warrior Studio in the basement.
With our fresh new lights.
I meant not to say live, because we're not actually live.
It's live for us.
It's true. Yes, Jake said we have new lights. Yeah, there are some new light fixtures.
We have these crummy little, what do you call those? Halogen, I guess. They were like the bulbs you use in track lighting that I absolutely despise. And they were on these little single mounts, and I was trying to like bounce them around, but it was so dim in this little corner. So now we got these big LED bars that stretch along, and they give so much more light. And they can be yellowy light or blue light or a mix of between, so they can match with all the daylights.
They look pretty
That makes
cool.
me happy.
I like the shape of them.
Yeah, very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to fit in nice with all the changes we got coming.
Yeah. The changes we've talked about in the past that we have not completed.
Exactly.
But that's okay. Renovations take a lifetime.
It's all about the process. Enjoy the journey, as they say.
Awesome. Well, how was your Easter?
What's Easter? I don't know.
Easter?
Well, I went and filmed my friend Corey, his band. They were playing a cool show up at Castle Mountain, which is a ski hill about 2 hours away from Calgary here. And it was like Easter themed, so everyone was wearing Easter bunny ears, and they put on the gig was at like the bottom of the hill where the lifts take everybody up to their runs and stuff too. So they were wearing these cool 80s inspired ski suits of different dramatic colors and vintage look and feel. But that was a fun time, spending the afternoon out there on the mountain. Gorgeous, clear day.
Yeah, you said it was pretty warm, hey?
Yeah, well, when we first got there, it was pretty cold. I was nervous that I didn't bring enough layers. Also, I don't know if I knew that we were actually like outside while filming. I thought maybe there was like an indoor spot, but I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, but cooler having it set up outside.
Oh, definitely. Way cooler. So once in the morning, there was some cloud cover, but then that burned off and it was just bright, glorious sun. Everything warmed up, which probably sucked for everyone skiing, but it was great for us. Yeah. So that was a fun time.
Yeah, and we had dinner at your cousin's on Friday.
Yeah.
Before that.
That was fun. Fun little family dinner. Got to make some polenta.
Yeah.
I haven't made that in a long time.
Yeah, and then what else did you do?
For Easter?
Yeah, was that pretty much it for the...
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, after the show, we did some cool promo shots for some music that the band has coming out. So
yeah,
just sort of spent this time working on those things and finished up another little personal filming project today.
And guess what I did?
What'd you did?
I spent Saturday and Sunday, like all day long, both of those days, like 12 plus hours, both days, playing Tears of the Kingdom. Well, I hadn't played since November, and since I got back, I've just, I've been fucking running around, collecting everything.
Gotta catch them all.
It's fucking hard because there's a lot to do still, even though I've done like all of the quests.
Yeah.
All the quests, all the shrines. Fuck. I'm sorry. So really, I don't have a whole lot of exciting things to say because while Jake was out all Sunday, I was on the couch in my little nest playing games. I did have a nap, but I also ordered Skip the Dishes and I was completely sober.
Yeah.
And I did not need to order Skip the Dishes, but that's how like glued to the TV I was.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, some days we have those days.
It was nice though, because it was like a 4-day weekend for me. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Not many people get those these days.
No, I know.
And then what else? Speaking of, what do I call it? Enjoying the process and epic journeys. We've been taking an epic journey through the Stranger Things series.
Yes.
All fucking 4.
Yeah, but you hadn't seen it before.
I'd watched season 1, I think the year it came out, and maybe like the first episode of season 2, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. So why didn't you continue with it then?
Well, I can't remember what year. I was probably still working in props and on
Totally.
sets. So, and that would have been towards the end of that work. So I was already pretty disillusioned with anything that was very like narrative, and especially series. And then I remember when the second season came out, and just watching through the first one, I was like, oh my God, this is like the exact same thing as the first season. Like,
I think the first season came out in like 2016.
yeah. Okay, so that's maybe when I was starting to get pretty busy with it. The thing I remember liking about it from the first season when it came out, though, was really appreciating the detail to the era in all of the props
Yeah.
and everything going on there. So I remember that being fun with the first season, just because there hadn't been anything that I felt really nailed a cohesive look and had this very specific era and just sort of unique, weird props to the whole thing. Like just thinking in terms of at least what we use in movies a lot, or when you see people do typical 80s kind of looks, I was like, oh, this is fresh and cool and different. And that's what I really loved about that first season. And I don't know, the story to me was always kind of like entertaining, but I guess I was more there for the production. So then when the second one came out, I was just like, this is just like the same thing, because not much really changed visually either, right? It's like a year later, so pretty much everything looked the same. And I was like, oh, this is just repeat, next thing. Like, just sort of checked out.
It's really just a progression. So not too much changes. It does just build up towards the ultimate ending, I guess. And like the what do they call it? The antagonist, I guess. His like the bad guys.
Yeah.
They just change a little each season. They progressively get larger and worse. So the style and a lot of it's quite the same, of course, because it's not, I don't think it's meant to change that drastically, No,
well, the world doesn't change that dramatically in a couple years.
Yeah.
In terms of how everything looks and feels.
Yeah. It's just more like the kids, because it's crazy seeing how they go from, because when you're a kid, like you grew up really fast, your physical features change quickly, and they're filming these releasing these 2 years at a time kind of thing, So they start out as like 12 or whatever, and now they're 20 when they're doing their last season or something. So it's crazy to see that.
Yeah. It makes me think too how I remember growing up feeling, at least through high school, that when I looked at a lot of my photos that I looked very much the same. And now I kind of chuckle when I look back at my photos, like at my age now.
Yeah,
and especially even from 20 to 30 now.
Yeah,
like,
you don't look look much like how you used to.
Yeah. And even when I look at my younger self, like from, school pictures from elementary to high school, I'm like, actually, there are a lot of dramatic changes. And how could you not see that?
Totally. So the reason why we got into it now is because, I'm always looking to just throw something on, when I'm doing something. And I have only seen the Stranger Things seasons once, like the whole series once. So I was like, okay, well, the season 5's coming up. I didn't know when it was coming out when I started this, and I'm really annoyed because it's actually not being released until next year. So we just finished watching all 4 seasons, just have to wait a whole fucking year to finish it, because I don't want to wait anymore. It's stupid. I just want it to be over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want there to be a finale. So anyway, so I just put it on, and then, oftentimes when I just put something on, you wander over and start judging.
Hardcore. I love talking shit about films.
Yeah, but you sit down and you get into it, and then you don't want me to watch it without you, and then you're also like, yeah, I'll go ahead, watch it without me, but then you're like, don't do that. So, but yeah, I had to put you in your place at one point because you were just being so fucking annoying about how judgy you were, and I'm like, it's a story. It's just a story. It's supposed to be fantastical. Tell us how you felt.
Well, after 4 seasons, I still say there's probably a lot that they could have condensed out of there. But
okay, but during
part of it is the there's just like slow chunks where I feel like this isn't really doing much to either advance a story or inform me much about a character's evolution. Like, what is this here for? So that's what I get wrapped up in a lot of times when I'm
That's not what you were going off about.
Yeah, I don't remember, but that's where my sentiment always starts. Anyhow, I will say it's a cool evolution of that antagonist and beginning to understand who they are and what they want and why they're doing things. Because I felt that was something in the first season that felt very unresolved, where I was like, why is this thing even here? Who cares? Like,
well, that was one thing that you were complaining about even after each season. You're like, why is this, like, well, I thought they got rid of it. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Because you hadn't seen the last season yet, you couldn't connect it all together.
Yeah.
But the point was, it was always the same problem.
Yeah. And so I think
just growing.
Exactly.
Progressing. Evolving.
Excellent words. And I think if that had been made clearer earlier on, maybe it would have hooked my attention more to have stayed into it. But because I couldn't really understand what this thing is and why it's here and what's happening, and I felt like if you haven't addressed that by a first season, like, I'm out personally.
Did miss some episodes, or at least some parts of episodes. So, like, you didn't get the full story, because I did watch some of it without you.
Oh yeah, I think you went through most of season 3 without me seeing much of it.
Yeah. So,
and even probably the second half of season 2. But I will say, like, once learning that, now I'm like, I do want to see the finale, and I'm looking forward to that final season. But I'm also like, it's gonna end with him getting killed. Like, like, the bad guy always
yeah, but
dies
I guess
in the
what
end.
we're looking
But
forward
I'm excited to see how it gets there.
And
because
who else dies?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's got to be some of the protagonists that die too.
Exactly.
And that's what really gets you, though.
Yeah, because I felt like there wasn't those kinds of dramatic changes through a lot of the other stuff.
It was always the same people.
So I think now I get a little more excited because I'm like, oh, it's coming towards the end. This is when, like, shit's gonna go down. And I'm also genuinely curious about what is this final piece of this antagonist plan?
Yeah.
Because I think that they did do a good job. As much as it pushed me away and made me disinterested, they've also kept a lot hidden about that character and what he's doing and why and how. And so now, knowing that we're getting to the end of that, I'm super curious to hear about what's he been planning? What's this big grand finale, right? Because it always feels like they've won and they've beaten him back, and he comes back with something else that's crazier and more. I don't know. Like, it always catches me off guard. With the methods and.
There's a huge cat fight going on in the back. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess just the way that this character can terrorize the town and fuck with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that part.
Yeah.
I think I just wish they had made that more interesting earlier, because I feel like that's why they lost me a bit. And then I'm like, it's cool to be back and say, oh, cool. Something to look forward to.
Yeah. It was a slow build, but I think it was also focusing a lot on the gang's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of, I think I see that in a lot of storytelling these days, where it's just trying to really hone in on a character and the things that they're going through.
Yeah, they want you to be emotionally connected to those characters.
Yeah, and I think I like watching things that are a little bit more plot driven.
I like watching people die.
Well, I'm more interested in the progression of events and how someone goes through it, not as much interested in, like, them talking about how they feel. I'm like, yeah, that, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a balance to be struck, of course, but I still do really appreciate the look of everything that they do in that show. Like, it's so well propped and, like, designed. In terms of the whole production design, the art direction, the wardrobe, like, all of those production elements that are in front of the camera are awesome.
Yeah, I remember stopping and asking you, because there's a convenience store or whatever that a person works in, and literally all the items on there are just, old school.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then it's fucking full. So I'm like, hey, do you think someone had to actually spend all that time like either making them or did they find them?
Probably make it all. Like,
That's crazy.
I bet
But I
that's
guess
easier,
after
especially.
doing it once, it's all there.
Well, and that stuff's not always as hard as it seems in a way.
I guess it's just tedious.
Yeah, it's like there would be definitely a day of people, building all of that stuff and putting it on the shelves. Like it's no small task for sure, but also I'm like most of the times when you're doing something very specific in film, whether it's imaginary or you're trying to make up a period, like it's way easier to just make your own stuff than it is to go try and
I
find
don't
stuff
even know
that's
how you would
accurate. Like,
find items like that.
yeah, because I'm like basically what you do is just Google or do some research. What was this product? What was their design looking like in around this era? Okay, like copy that. Or if you're making a fake product, that's even easier. Because a lot of times what we do is we have pre-cleared like names for different products and stuff, and then the art department mocks up like here's Corn Blasty cereal, and they have their own goofy little logo, and like that name has been approved by legal and is like good to go and use. And so you'll just have this whole list of whatever kinds of products are going to need to be seen, either featured as a prop or in the background for the art department.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And yeah, it's kind of wild. But then I don't know if we didn't have it in Vancouver, but down in LA they have a place where they have just like their own, like they specialize in just movie food and junk and stuff, and they have all these fake packages and like resealable chip bags with their own logos and stuff on them that's already like pre-cleared and ready to go and stuff. So
nice.
It seems simpler when you're working down in LA to get a lot of that stuff if you're just looking for generic like whatever stuff in the background. So you can just go there and say I need this many bags of that, this many boxes of this and so that, and like that's what they do all day every day, and just make that stuff and send it out to productions.
Cool.
Yeah. And then they're like soundproofed too. Because like a lot of times that's something that you forget about if you're not making something for movies. It's like you can't use a regular chip bag. It's going to be all crinkly every time they talk. So
I never even thought about that.
These bags are made of different materials that don't
cool.
make sound, but they look very much like the chip bags. Or that's why they can look really boxy sometimes. If you see a character like open a bag of chips and it doesn't crinkle up and fold around like a normal bag does, and they just
because you're not really paying attention to that.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be.
Yeah, well, I guess it's something I would see because I'm like, hey, yeah, oh, they must be using a fake thing. Or like, what was that show we were watching where they would make snacks? The different cooks.
Oh, that was a cool show. We should talk about that actually. What was that called?
But just quickly to say, a lot of the packaging they were using was like that exact same stuff.
Huh.
So they could just print their, like mock up their logo. I think you were asking me about that. Like, how do they get this packaging so quick? I'm like, well, there's already stuff like that exists for filmmaking. So they just have an art department who has a logo mocked up and ready, print it out, stick it on there.
Yeah, and they should. So anyways, there's a show on Netflix and it's some snack show. I don't remember what it's called, but we were done about Stranger Things, right?
I guess,
That's pretty much it.
We'll bounce around. It's fine.
Anyways, and it's this like snack cooking contest show.
Yeah.
I guess. And these people are making like recreating snacks.
Well, wasn't it the first challenge is recreate this?
Yeah, and it gets chosen through a vending machine, like what they're supposed to make. So there was like Cheesies, I think was the first ones.
Oreos.
Oreos, Pringles.
Yeah.
And then just watching these people who know how to cook.
Fruit gushers.
Yeah, all sorts of really cool things, and that was a fun show to watch. There was only one season of that though.
Yeah, but then the second one they had to come up with their own snack.
Yeah.
Because there was like two things. So wasn't it like the first half of the episode they have to recreate whatever snack from the vending machine that's like a well-known.
Yeah, but then the second challenge was to make your own snack, but with some qualities of what they had of the original snack they had to recreate. So with Pringles, or say maybe with the Oreo, it would make sense. Something that's like a sandwich, like, that can come
Right.
apart or but be eaten together or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, super cool. Go watch it. You should be able to find it easy on Netflix for snack related. That was fun. And a lot of that stuff looked really fucking good too. Like what they could make on their own. The recreations, wow, hard.
Yeah.
It
'Cause they
looked
had like
very
no
hard.
recipes or like
No, they
nothing to
had to
follow.
taste it and feel it and and based on what the texture was like and how they like saw it shaped and how it stuck together, they had to use their own knowledge. And oh my God. Oh, so many failures though. So funny though, because I'm looking at this like, why can't you do that? But then I guess everything is, automatically made now. Like they have machines to make food.
Yeah, well, and those recipes have been like tested and refined until it
and they're
is
just trying to
finally
do it
something they
in
can
a
do.
half an hour or something stupid like that, or an
Yeah.
hour.
So I remember thinking that with the Oreo one, where I was like, I could make an Oreo, and then I was like, okay, but I would also have to like search on Google to find some recipes on like how do I make a cream that's like the Oreo cream, and then like play with that a few times. I couldn't just in like an hour or whatever time they have pull that out of my ass
finding
and
the
do it.
right what was it, flours or whatever for the cookie part, because was it a flour or some kind of
I think it was the sugar and then whatever the fat.
cocoa, finding
Yeah.
using the right cocoa for the right color and the right taste of the cookie part.
Yeah, you had to use a
'Cause
black cocoa.
Yeah, but also something else so that it wasn't super black. And
Yeah, exactly.
it also had the right flavor. So it's all super complicated snacks.
And then the creamy thing in the middle too is actually vegan. Like there's no milk product in that either. And I was like, oh, that would throw me off because actually my first instinct was to go to something with a milk base into it. I'm like, oh no, you'd have to do that with something else. And I can't remember what it was that they used.
And they said don't use it, like it doesn't actually have a bunch of vanilla like you would think. It's got I don't know, all super complicated, but so much fun to watch. And some of the stuff I really wish we could have taste tested. I think the thing that sucked about it was the hosting. Because there were two hosts in quotations, and then there were two judges who were basically hosting. So the host should have just fucked off, and they should have just had the judges, because the hosts were really just annoying.
Yeah, well, it was like the hosts were comedians, and then the judges were. I remember the one guy was like a
scientist.
Yeah. Like he works in test kitchens developing these products for different snack companies. Like he does that job, and I think he did the most talking and explaining all the time. And I was like, I prefer listening to that guy.
They were also funnier than the comedians too. So it was just, they should bring that back, but listen to what we're saying now. This is our recommendations. There's too many people,
If anyone from Netflix is listening to the pair of dinks.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, it was fun though.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah. I don't want to give away, but there were definitely some very innovative recipes out there that I was like, wow, where can we find these to eat?
Yeah. And some ambitious ones that I like that they failed at in the time frame allotted. But I was like, man, if you develop that a little more.
Yeah.
Like, I bet that would be an awesome snack.
Totally.
Yeah. Watching food shows is dangerous.
And I fucking love snacks.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect combo for you.
I know. That was cool. It was cool.
But I like the competition element of of a cooking show.
Totally.
Like watching some of the kitchen ones, like Ramsay with Kitchen Nightmares. Like that one gets old to me fast because I'm like, there's nothing like.
No, we're watching.
Time frame here. It's just fun watching some conflict.
Well, it's also seeing just how nasty some restaurants are. And then watching him, fight with people is fun too. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, did you know that him and his wife just had another baby? They had
he's got like a bunch.
6 kids. And I'm like, how old are you? Why are you having another baby? Yeah, I don't know.
Good on him.
It just grossed me out.
I mean, we're not, so someone else has got to.
No, there's enough of them out there. Unless that family plans to feed the world.
Maybe they do. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more cooks. Actually, we need more chefs.
Yeah, there's cooks out there, but not
food
chefs.
innovators.
Yeah, so that's a couple of things that we've watched lately. To be honest, there hasn't been a whole lot going on in our lives. Well, you probably do more than me. I just, I don't know. It's been pretty generic around here for me.
Yeah, well, this year I've just decided to busy myself with more personal projects during downtime instead of like, I don't know what to call it. Like sitting around wasting time or just doing generic baloney emailing to people. I'm like, no, just work and make stuff that I want to make and put that out there and just keep chipping away at that. Like that's how people will find you and see, what you can do when you just do the work and put it out there. Like you don't have to sit around and I don't know. I feel like when I look at it now, I feel like that's such an antiquated businessy approach to like business, I guess. And I'm like, I don't know that works in the modern creative industry. Like to just cold email people and try to arrange like a lunch meeting and talk about stuff. I'm like, no, they'll see your work, like because someone that they know saw it and they'll refer you. Like,
yeah,
it's just
a lot of word of mouth and
and making yourself
networking,
look
social.
And part of it's just making yourself look busy because like no one knows if this is paid or unpaid or like personal or not. They're just
true.
like they see you generating things.
Yeah.
And they look good and they're engaging and they enjoy it.
Well, and you've been doing a lot of that lately. So you have a way more interesting life right now than I do.
I don't know about that.
Well,
it's still a lot of days sitting around home in the basement.
Yeah, but you're working with a lot of different people right now too, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that part's fun.
Yeah. And then that's also a way of getting their work out there.
I think that's something I've been
their stuff.
Or like for my filming today, like I guess part of my frustration was looking out and seeing I guess to use the Stranger Things rants as an example, even like I realize it's not helpful or really interesting for me to just pick things apart or complain that what's being put out there sucks. It's like, okay, well, make what you want to see and put it out there. Like I'm a creative. I can create what I want to see.
Yeah.
Or tell the kinds of stories or, highlight the types of people that I'm interested in hearing from. So just do it. Like, that's how I can make an improvement.
Yeah.
On those things.
Totally.
So it feels nice to really fall into that and to own that idea 100% and just get out and do it. But also being at a point where I think I've fought through a lot of my initial imposter syndrome around my own creativity and abilities. And so it's like you can just relax into it a little bit more and just have fun and realize that I guess I had this old notion in my mind that like work is always like work, like it's kind of miserable. It's something that you do because like you have to do it. And I'm like, but I don't do that. Like I have jobs that feel that way, but like that's not my work, like my craft.
Exactly. That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it takes, I don't know, like I feel like I was raised in an environment where you just learn that you gotta work, and a lot of times your work will suck, but you just gotta sort of tough it out and deal with it, and that's how you live. And I was like, wow, no, not at all. Like I didn't believe that, but I also didn't know how to not do that.
I hear you. So. That's how I used to feel too.
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah, there's some days that kind of suck, but same with days when you're not working that kind of suck. Yeah. But for the most part, like I'm really happy,
Yeah.
And
there's always some clients where you're like, oh man, that's tough working with them or cleaning their place.
We need to talk to each other, just to like get it off our chest. But for the most part, like it's still, I like what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel fulfilled, and I feel like I'm helping people, and that makes me feel good too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to lean into.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, there's your short and sweet update from the Dinks.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk at you again later.
Peace out.
Bye.